Hello and welcome to another video tutorial on Debt Payoff Tracker. In this tutorial, we will introduce one of the most popular spreadsheet, which is Debt Payoff Tracker, used by many people to have control over their debts, especially paying off the debts over the years. So these spreadsheet will help you to organize the payments of your debts and to pay them systematically in a manner that helps you keep track of all your debt payments. So, you ready? Let's go. Here in this spreadsheet we have 5 tabs and we will go to each of the tabs one by one and we'll explain how these tabs help you organize your debt payments. So let's start with the introduction tab. So this one starts with a small summary of the spreadsheet with the essential characteristics of the spreadsheet. Like, for example, it starts with saying that with this spreadsheet you have the choice to choose whether you want to arrange your debt payments through Avalanche method or Snowball approach. I will show you eventually where you can make the choice of these two methods, and then you can also change currency conversion. You will also see we will discuss the procedure of changing the currency from one currency to another currency. So for example, this spreadsheet which I am explaining here, it is in dollar, but if you need pound, then how you can change it to pound, even though you don't have to, because when you purchase our package that includes dollar, pound and euro. However, if you want the spreadsheet in another currency, it's very simple and the procedure is also written in this tab. Okay, now the next point is permit monthly payments, which means you can record your monthly debt payments using this spreadsheet, and at any point you can also manage your larger debt payments too using this spreadsheet. Next, we have an important instruction regarding the usage of this spreadsheet. So if you want the spreadsheet to work properly for you, then you have to know that there are two regions, two types of border lines in this spreadsheet, and these are intentionally created to keep you safe from messing up the spreadsheet. So let me explain a little bit more. So if we go to this data entry tab, you will see there is a green border area, there is a red border area. So almost every tab is divided into these. Mostly in these first tabs there will be more green zone, which means within these green zones you can put your input as per your requirement. But these red zones, you should not touch these red zones. So the cells that are surrounded by red border lines, these are not for you. The calculation will be done automatically for you in these cells. Likewise, the same applies to here. So in these transactions, it's only the green area because it's all about your input. There is no auto calculation that will be done here. Rather, the data that you input in this tab will be taken further to this tab where you do not have any option to input. All the input you have made through data entry and transaction will be calculated automatically and presented to you in this tab. Okay, we will explain more detail when we come to this tab. And this tab also, you see you have only this one and this one. Only these two tabs you can change, because here you can choose the year and here you can choose the month. Other than these two, you don't have to touch any other cells here, because all the calculations will be done for you automatically. So that's what this important instruction is. This says that whenever you see there is a green area or a cell surrounded by green border lines, feel free to change anything within this green border lines that without any problem. But if you want to, or if you make changes within the red border lines, this will mess up the spreadsheet formula and eventually you will not be able to do the calculations accurately through this spreadsheet. Okay, so having said that, going to the next section of this tab, and this is nothing but a simple explanation of the remaining tabs, that is data entry, transactions, payment tracker, and monthly review. So as we will go into these tabs individually with detailed explanation, so we will skip this section, but of course you can have a look into it, read through all the sections. And this one is an additional instruction if you want to change any of the colors of the spreadsheet, which is of course not a mandatory thing, but just for your from the aesthetic purpose, if you want to match up any color with your choice, then you can do so by following these simple steps. And now the changing currency, as we have talked about it earlier. So as I said, this debt payoff tracker is made in dollar, right? And we have two other versions in pound and euro. However, if you want a debt payoff tracker any currency other than dollar, pound, or euro, then you can change it following these simple steps. Okay, so that's all about our introduction tab of this spreadsheet. Moving on to data entry tab. So let's start with reading these two lines, what's written here. So the first one says all the dates and amounts that are mentioned in this tab are totally customizable. These are filled up with some sample data just to demonstrate how the spreadsheet works. This means that here you will find 20 different dates with corresponding balances, minimum payments, and interest. And if you notice, the whole area is surrounded by green border line, which means that you can change anything and everything within these border lines. Now, why these are mentioned? This is just for demonstration purpose in order to show you how this spreadsheet works, and also to show you that this spreadsheet works properly. So for the demonstration purpose, these 20 dates are presented here, but if any of the dates match with your situation, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can change any date and all the dates. So you can just simply select it and then change whatever date you need. Okay, and the same goes for the balance amounts. All these are just hypothetical amounts. You can put the real amount of your debt here, minimum payment, and interest rate. And of course, if you want to put any note for any kind of debt, you can just put a note here as well. So this is the task of this table, and this is what it said here. Now the next thing is, feel free to change any criteria within the green borders. Please do not change anything within the red borders. Amount in the red borders will automatically update it. So it's the same thing that we have read in the previous tab as an important instruction, that you can, and you only have to change this one and this one, not any other thing. Okay, so what is this cell? So this cell, as it says, that select your start date. So if you, let's say you want to plan start the payment for your debts from March, you can of course it's already passed, but this is just for demonstration purpose. You can choose through this cell, you can choose any months before the current date. So let's say if you have got this spreadsheet in your hand on the month of, let's say, November, then you can choose any date on November. Like for example, if it is on your hand on the 1st of November, you can choose any date on 1st of November or any date before. Okay, not future date. So this cell, for this spreadsheet to work properly, you can input only past date and present date, not any future date. So this means this is a live debt payoff tracker, which can only capture correctly the current date and the past date, not any future date. Okay, so just keep this in your mind. And of course, you will also not need to input any future date. Why? Because this is just a debt payoff tracker, which means that whenever you make a payment, that you can track using this spreadsheet. Okay, this is not a calculator. Okay, so in summary, through this cell you can input any date as of current date. So if you are getting this spreadsheet in your hand on 1st of November, you can put 1st of November or any date before, and this will give you the minimum payments in total, and this will give you monthly extra payment on top of the minimum payments. And through this cell you can choose whether you want the date payment in the Snowball method or Avalanche method. So what's the difference between the two? So let's zoom in a little bit. So this Snowball method, this will organize your date payments presenting the smallest date first, which means if we go to the payment tracker, then we see that we have all the 20 different kinds of dates, having each column for each individual date. So this organization of the dates, so for example, by saying organization I mean now you can see here the auto loan is in the first column, and then home equity loan, then the boat loan, right? Now if we go to the data entry tab, we see that at present structure this Avalanche is selected, right, which says that pay off dates with the highest interest rate first. Now let's look at the data. So if we look at the data, we see the highest interest rate among all of that are 5. You see, do you see any other number greater than 5? No. So 5% is the highest amount of interest, and it says Avalanche method is a method where it suggests to pay off dates with the highest interest rate first, right? So now if we go to the payment tracker, you see which are the highest interest rate. So you see here, this is overview. Other than this column, it starts with all the dates that has 5% interest, 5% interest, 5%, 5%, 5%, and then it will move to 4%, 4%, 4%, right? So this is presented this way because we have selected here the Avalanche method. Now let's see. So just keep in mind, in order to track the change, you see this column after overview, it's auto loan column, right? Now we will move on here to demonstrate the Snowball method. So Snowball, it says pay off the smallest date first. So if you look here, the smallest date is what? Payday loan, right? If we remember, last time we saw the first column was auto loan, right? Let's go to the payment tracker. See, now it is no more the auto loan, it is payday loan. Why? Because of this, the balance of the payday loan is the smallest amount. If we check on this table, this is the smallest amount of the debt, right? And Snowball method organizes or presents the dates in a way so that the smallest one is at the first position, okay, as you see here. So that's why the payday loan is in the first column, and eventually after 500, then the next big amount, then the next bigger amount, then the next bigger amount. Okay, so as per your choice, you can choose either Snowball method or Avalanche method through this cell, and accordingly the dates will be presented here. You see, it just changed from payday loan to auto loan. Why? Because we have changed the option from Snowball method to Avalanche method. So here you can choose any of the method as per your choice. Okay, so that's all about the data entry tab. And if we go a little bit lower, you will see there is another table. So, and it is surrounded by red. Why red? Because these cells will be automatically updated when you input the data within this green cell. You do not have to input the data here. Okay, and why this is here? If we have a close look, we will see that these here, the same dates, the same 20 dates are presented in this green table are presented here, but it is organized in a way so that the highest interest rates, the dates with highest interest rates are at the top, and then the next highest, then the next highest, like this. Then the lower amount, and then the lower amounts. Okay, so in summary, the highest interest at the top and the lowest interest at the bottom. So it reorganizes the dates which goes with the Avalanche method, right? So through this data entry tab, you can enlist all the dates you have here with their corresponding balance amounts, minimum payment amount, and the interest rate. That's all about the data entry tab. Moving on to the transactions tab. So through this tab, you can make record of each and every transactions that happens after the start date of the data entry. So for example, for the demonstration purpose, the start date of the dates for this scenario is 1st March 2024. That's why 1st March 2024 the first transaction took place, which is for the date of mortgage and in the amount of 50,000. So here this column will help you. Whenever you double click on this, you can choose whatever date, as long as it is past and current date. You can choose any date, and then how much is the amount of the date payment, you can record it here, and of course you can choose the date from this drop down menu. So this is another thing. So in this data entry tab, let's say if you input 15 different dates you have, if you have 15, otherwise whatever amount, whatever number of dates you have, you can enlist here. So let's say for example you have 15 dates and you have listed all the dates here. So all these dates, all the names of these dates will be available automatically in this drop down menu. So for this example scenario, we have 20 different dates listed here. So here in this drop down menu, the 20 different list will be already automatically populated, so you don't have to type the name. You can just choose whichever date payments you have made. Okay, so through this column you can track the record, you can track the date when you have made the payment, what's the amount, and for which date you have made the amount. And of course if you want to record any other details or remarks or notes, you can do so through this column. And here it says the amounts that you are inserting in this tab will be automatically updated on the planned column of the payment tracker tab. So this is saying that whatever amounts we are putting in this value column, it will be updated in the payment tracker tab. So let's go here. You see we have input recorded the values 50,000 and the remaining are 500, 500, 500. So you see these are automatically updated here, 50,000, 500, 500, 500, 500. Okay, so that's all about the transactions tab. So in summary, this transaction tab, through this tab you will be able to record every transaction that happens along the way, starting from the start date of the of your date payments. Okay, and of course the starting date that you mention on the data entry tab should match with the transactions tab, because only then it will make sense, right? Transaction tab is nothing but a way of keeping track of your keeping record of your transactions, right? So if your first transaction takes on the March 1st 2024 for example, then of course the data entry tab should also match the starting date which is mentioned on the data transaction tab. Okay, so these two dates should match, the first date of the transaction tab and the starting date of this data entry tab. Okay, so be careful about this one. And that's all about the transaction tab. You can put the date here, value here, and the name of the date from here, and any other details if you want to record. So next we move on to the payment tracker tab. So let's read the first notice, what's written here. So do not edit anything on this tab, all calculations will be done automatically for you. This means this tab is not for you to edit. This tab will represent the data that you have input through data entry tab and transaction tab. Okay, so please do not edit anything on this tab. That's why this tab is surrounded by the red border you see here. The total tab is surrounded, like all the cells within this tab are surrounded by red borders. Okay, so do not touch anything within this step, and also you do not have to, because all the calculations will be done automatically. Now we will explain what this represents. So this payment tracker, we see the first column is overview of all the debt payments that you have made so far, and then you see these individual columns. So these individual columns represents debt payment of individual debts. This is how you will see that this way there are 20 columns filled up with data, because for this example scenario we have 20 debts. However, you can track more than 20, as we have mentioned in the product description, that you can mention one, you can keep track of more 1 2 3 4 5 more 5 debts. That is, you can track in total 25 debts. Okay, you can track in total 25 different debts. Okay, so this overview is the summary of all your debt payments. That's why you see the payments that are mentioned here. These are the transactions that you have made so far. Okay, so month wise, so if you have made this payment monthly on the March 1st, then this is recorded here. So everything you record here will be reflected here, and then we will go how it go to individual debts. So let's go deeper. So let's say this 50,000 amount, this is paid towards the mortgage, right, on March 1st. So this overview, it will show you this. Okay, on March 1st you have made $50,000 payment, and now your overall balance of all your debts is this amount. Okay, but on individual level we would like to see whether this is reflected on the mortgage column or not. So let's go and find the mortgage column. So let's go. Okay, here we see this column is for the mortgage debt. Okay, so here see we have $250,000 in total. That is exactly what we mentioned here, that our balance is $250,000, minimum payment $1,200, interest rate 1%. So $250,000, $1,200, and interest rate 1%, and $50,000 is the payment. See, it is recorded here on individual debt level as well. On the overview we have seen this amount, and on individual level, as this was made towards this mortgage debt, that is why it is mentioned here that you have made a payment of 50,000 on March 1st, and after you have made this payment you have this balance. Okay, so you see out of 250,000, if you have paid 50,000, then it should have been 200,000, but because of the interest is automatically calculated for you. So the amount you see, the additional amount over 200,000 is 166.67. So this is due to the interest. Okay, so this interest amount is automatically calculated for you, so that you don't have to worry about the calculation. You can just see the amount and you can just make the payments and then go ahead accordingly. So the calculations will be done automatically for you. So for this specific case, for the mortgage payment, you have made $50,000, your remaining balance is 200,000, 166.67, and on the next month it will increase to 200,000, 333, and likewise. Okay, if you have made payment on the next month, it will be updated here. Next month it will be updated here. Since for this example we have not made any payment after March, which is evident here, you see we made just one payment for mortgage. That is why you see just one payment here. Okay, so the same way I have explained the mortgage debt column works, the same way other 19 debts or all other remaining debt columns will work. Okay, which means that we will see the business loan column having this $500 payment, which was made on April 1st, 2024. So if we go again, just have a look at this column as well. April 1st, $500, and this is the overall scenario of your debts, the combined amount. After making this payment, your amount will be this. and this one is business loan, right? So let's go and find the business loan. So here you see on March we did not make any payment on this business loan. On the April we have made this payment $500, which means that the total amount was 50,000. As because we have not made any payment on this month, this $125 is the amount of interest that is generated on this amount and calculated here. But now the next month when you made the payment of $500, it has reduced to this amount. Okay, and on the next month if you make payment, it will be recorded here. If not, then $0, and it will calculate the accumulated interest here as well. Okay, so this way each and every column will work, each and every date column will work. Whatever dates you have, all the calculations will be done here. If you make a payment, it will be reflected in this column, and the balance column will calculate the remaining balance after you have made the payment, how much you have remaining in balance month wise. Okay, as you see here, March, April, May, June, July, August. Okay, and as this is a live tracker, whenever, so let's say once the month of September is passed, it will automatically give a tick here, which means that the last month is always the current month. Okay, so that's why I mentioned it's a live tracker where you can input the current data and past data, not any future data. Okay, so that's all about the payment tracker. This payment tracker gives you an overview of the overall picture of your all the debt payments, and these individual columns will give the individual progress of individual debts you have, what's the balance, minimum payment, interest rate, and then on monthly level at any particular month, what was your payment and what's the remaining balance. Okay, now moving on to the last column, which is monthly review. So as the name suggests, that this tab will give you a monthly review of all your debts you have. Okay, and it will be in multiple format, in the form of data here in this table, and also in the form of chart and some final amounts. So let's go ahead one by one. First, let's see what it says. Do not anything on this tab except year and month. Okay, so again on this tab you only need to change two things. One is the year. Okay, if you are in 2025, select 2025 and select the month. So it's already on the drop down menu. And other than this, all the other tabs and all the other cells, you see the amounts and the graph and charts, everything will be done automatically for you. Okay, so here on the month of March, the payment is this amount, the left is this amount, the balance is this, and the payoff amount is this. And this one shows the contribution of your debt payoff, like how much you have paid off and how much is remaining. And this shows over the time your paying of your debt, how it changes from January 2025 over the period of January 2045, if you have that much loan that continues till January 2045. And this graph will present the top 5 debts. Okay, the top 5 debts will be presented through this pie chart. Now this table will represent all the 20 debts we have for this example scenario. Now let's look at it, what it means. So let's say we consider the auto loan. This debt, the name of the debt is auto loan, the amount is this, paid is this, left is this, balance is this, and paid off is this, and this is the overall progress. And all the data you see are representation of the month of March. What it means is, let's say we go to the month, we go to the transaction type, and we see that the only debt payment we made on the month of March is mortgage, right? So since we have selected the month as March, that is why we see the progress bar of mortgage only. Why? Because we made on payment for mortgage only in the month of March, not any other payment for any other dates. That is why it shows the progress of the mortgage debt, and of course the overall debt as well. Okay, let's try to check this concept from another month. So what happens to the month of April, right? So let's change it and see. So we want to see our scenario of all the debts on the month of April, right? So as we have changed, let's go back to the table. We see we have another progress bar appearing on the business loan. Now let's cross match here. So here you see we have made another payment on March, April for the business loan. So far till March we have made payment for two dates, one in March and another one is April, right? Mortgage and business loan. That is exactly presented here. You see the business loan and the mortgage. Okay, now let's do it one more time. Let's select the next month, May, and now go here. So you see it just got updated. So now it updates business loan, student loan and mortgage. Let's go to the transaction, see mortgage, business loan and student loan. So till May we have made payment for 3 debts. And what are the 3? Mortgage, business loan, student loan. That's why you have 3 progress bar of business loan, student loan and mortgage. So this is visual representation. The progress bar is visual representation that out of 100% what percentage you have made payment. So for business loan and student loan, it was just 1%. That's why the progress bar are very small. I'm not sure if you can see it. So let's zoom in a little bit so that you can see it if you have not noticed it yet. So here you see this is a very small progress bar. The reason is it's 1%. See, but this is 20%. That's why the progress bar is a little bit bigger. So this table represent the monthly picture, monthly overview of whatever month you select after the start date of your transactions. Okay, now if we go to the next month, June, then we will see here we have progress bar of 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one that it is auto loan. Let's go to the transaction tab. We see auto loan is the next one. So this is how you can choose any month from the starting date of your transaction to check the overall picture of your debt payments for that month. Okay, either through the table, through the numbers, digits, or through the progress bar, or through one of the charts which fits your requirement. Okay, so that is all about this spreadsheet. So as you have seen that many calculations are done automatically so that you can focus on making the payment of your debts and get rid of all the debts as soon as possible. And that's the aim, and that's the, I hope that's your dream as well, to get rid of all the debts you have. Okay, I hope this will be very useful for keeping track of all of your debt payment, and obviously all the calculations will be done for you. So I sincerely hope that it will be a great help if you can have this spreadsheet. And also I hope that this video tutorial was very useful for you. If you still have any question, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be very happy to help you with that. I want to end the session or the tutorial here. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for your time. Bye.